NNRG.
Well, I'm glad we've established that it's not always going to be the mystery game that gets chosen, because the game for today is Racing Destruction Set, which is a curious name for a game. Well, I guess we'll get to it. I've got some disk files here, more than one, so multi-disc game. Let's go auto start. There we go. Okay, so it looks like Electronic Arts logo. Looks like this one was cracked in 85 from the looks of it. Says buy TBC for BCS. This doesn't seem to be going anywhere. Do I just push a... Maybe it's loading? Because pushing buttons doesn't seem to do anything. Oh yeah, the disk indicator's moving. Okay, so yeah, that's loading something. And... okay, but we seem to already be into it. That's curious. I'm used to seeing like the different intros for the cracking groups and everything, but this time it was just a logo, and then it just loads straight into the game. That's not what I was expecting. Okay, so just push a button, and yep, there it goes. Loading some more. Hopefully these aren't too long for loads. We're not getting any raster bars or anything, but I can tell it's loading because the disk indicator's moving. So I have no idea what to expect here. I'm pretty sure I've heard of this game, but never actually played it or seen it. So I'm guessing, well, it's called Racing Destruction Set. That almost suggests, especially given that it's an EA game, that maybe it's similar to like Pinball Construction Set, and that you're actually expected to like construct stuff. Except they say destruction, so it almost suggests that like maybe there's going to be like weapons or something. I'm not sure. Okay, so the loading time wasn't too bad, but it wasn't short by any stretch. So we can go 1 or 2 players. We have set options and race, track construction, and vehicle selection. Okay, so let's go to options. It says start race, set level and options, choose or modify vehicles, choose or modify vehicles. Okay, so not only can the track be customized, but it looks like we can probably customize the vehicles too. I guess that makes sense. Set level and options. So we got difficulty level between normal, advanced, and severe. Okay, let's leave it on normal. Computer vehicle, which is yellow, can either be novice, expert, or pro. Leave that on novice. Rules can either be racing or destruction. Well, I guess we'll just leave it on racing for now and see where that goes. We can also set the gravity to be Venus, Earth, Saturn, or Uranus. That's some interesting choices there. I'm guessing there's probably going to be like jumps in the track or something. So the gravity is going to affect how those jumps work. You can set the number of laps between 1 and 9, defaulted to 2, which is a curious choice. And graphics. Okay, that's interesting. So it says track MotoX, abstract, and lunar. So I'm guessing we have like different options for what the tracks can actually look like. Okay, so that's kind of like how it is with like Populous, whereas in the original Populous you had different landscapes and stuff that would have like different gracks. What was I trying to say there? Different graphics associated with it, but it was still the same basic gameplay. It just looked different. It's like skins on like a UI or something. So that's probably what this is. We're selecting the skin of the appearance of the tracks. So, like, I mean, that's just a guess just based on what these options are, because it very much seems like that. Especially given the fact that our gravity selections are all real planets. Well, let's see if we can actually go through these in order. So we'll start with the normal track. Now I'm going to leave the gravity on Earth because I don't want it to get too crazy. Okay, it suddenly wants me to put in the second side of the disk for some reason. I can do that. So let's load the second side of the disk, and I don't know why it needed to do that, but... Okay, so let's handle the track first before we deal with the vehicle. So we can... Okay, load track from disk, construct, edit, save, delete, format your own disk. So I'm guessing in case you want to start saving your own tracks. Well, let's see what tracks it actually comes with. Insert your track disk or side 1 of game disk and press button. So I'm guessing your track disk is in reference to any particular track disk you created yourself. I'm having trouble speaking today for some reason. Or side 1 of game disk. Okay, so I got to put the side 1 back in to see what tracks this thing came with. So press button. Wait, this is not a data disk. Please select another disk or go to main. But I put in the... Well, I mean, there's 3 disk images here. It clearly wasn't the second side. Was it the second side? Like, I'll put the second one in again. Maybe that's, No, it says it's not a data disk. Well, I guess we'll try the third one. Well, that's kind of weird. Like... I know that says it's not a data disk either. Okay, so this cracked version of the game apparently doesn't include any tracks. So, that's unfortunate. So I guess we'll immediately have to go to creating our own. It says insert side 2 again, so let's go do that. Hopefully it actually like has a default track layout that we can work from, as opposed to having to make it entirely from scratch. But I guess we're gonna find out. Okay, good. It loaded into the track editor here, and there's already a course defined. So that's good. That means we technically don't have to create our own track, because there's already one defined. Although, I thought there'd be like jumps or something, but I'm not... This doesn't really look like much. Because you see the parts box here. Like, we can move this cursor around this little area here. I could move it practically anywhere. Well, except for the very top of it, the thing there. And then we've got a modify section at the bottom here. So I'm guessing, like, when you place a track piece, it'll actually have, like, some stats for it or something. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's why there's so much empty space on the sides. So when you select a piece, it says here we selected a jump. And if we select this, it says we selected a narrow path. And if we select this one down here, oh, this is a start-finish line. Okay. And then you have to set the height, the type of pavement, and vehicle setting. Well, the vehicle setting, I guess, is because we chose just a regular part. But if we select, like, narrow here, so then we have to go to modify, I'm guessing. Okay, we can select the height. Interesting. And then we select the width. Oh. So we're not just setting the width of the track, we're setting the width of like individual segments of it. Okay, this is a lot more involved than I was expecting. And then pavement here, we can either select dirt, ice, or pavement. Okay. So yeah, it looks like looks like you could do a lot with this from the appearance of it. Then we got some curves here. And it says here we can actually select the width of these. Oh yeah, we can actually make it like really freaking narrow or wide like that. And again, we have a choice between ice, dirt, and pavement. Now we have a huge variety of forks in the road we can choose from. And then also an intersection piece. And then even just a blank spot, which has no options to it for obvious reasons. Okay, well, what if we have nothing selected and we choose a piece of the course somewhere, like right here? Okay, so you are able to actually select parts of the course and see how they've been set up. So then we just select nothing, and we can select like a different part, like this one right here. Okay, so that's the start-finish line. Now, why are these gray or yellow and white? I'm guessing this is dirt. Yeah, it says dirt right there. And if we select the middle, that one's ice. Okay, then. Okay, so this is very involved, so I don't think I'm going to try to make anything. So we're just going to stick with the default track. And you'll go to exit. And then we're going to figure out what the vehicle selection is like, because it looks like there's going to be some customization there too, at least from just judging by what it was saying. So return to main menu, vehicle selection. Okay, so we can choose the red vehicle or the yellow vehicle, and we can load and save customizations, format the disk and everything. Okay, so let's just set up our vehicle here. It says to insert side 2. I actually forget which disk side we're on. I think we're already on side 2, but whatever. I will say these loading times are not terrible, but they're not short either. And these loads tend to be around 20 to 30 seconds each time they happen, so it's not the worst C64 loading I've seen, but it's certainly not the best. Okay, so here's our vehicle here. So apparently we can choose, it says up, down to select, left, right to modify. So we've got a Can-Am, we've got a Jeep, we've got a Lunar Rover, a dirt bike, Baja Bug, pickup, Stingray, stock car, street bike, Indy Grand Prix. How many vehicles are... Oh, never mind, that was the last one. Okay then. And we have tires, slicks, or... Oh wait, that's the only tire for that. So is it different for different... Oh, it is. Okay, so the kind of vehicle you have actually determines what you're able to select as your components. And then each tire type actually performs differently on different surfaces. Interesting. Let's actually, well, we're doing this first one in like a normal track, right? So let's actually do it as the Indy car. So, okay, we only have the slicks as a tire option. Now let's go for engine CC of 2000, and then we can give ourselves landmines and oil gallons and armor and crushers. Oh, apparently giving ourselves crushers also reduces our acceleration and increases our weight. Interesting. I'm guessing armor does the same. Yep. Oil gallons only seems to affect our weight. Oh, but the acceleration went down as the weight increased. Interesting. So the acceleration is being affected by how much weight is in the vehicle. Okay, and that's the computer vehicle set up the same way. So let's go back to the main menu here. So we've got our track selected. Well, we didn't have much of a selection. We've got our cars selected. So I guess we want to go to racing menu and start race. And insert side 2 again. It's I haven't changed from side 2 for like forever now. So I guess my question now is this going to be a game that just immediately drops you in after a really long load, or is it going to like actually give you a grace period before it actually starts, or I don't know. Like, I mean, that was one of the things I noticed with one of the games we looked at before. I forget which one. It was the one where we were with that army person going through all that different stuff trying to achieve various objectives. I think it was like Airborne Ranger or something like that. But the idea there was that because the load time was so long to get into the game, it actually gave you a little screen saying to like press a button to start. Okay, computer vehicle testing jumps. Hit F3 key to stop test. So my guess is it's doing like a test to make sure that all the jumps are possible, so as not to end up with a track that's like completely going to destroy the computer vehicle. My guess is that's what it's doing right now. But I mean, we didn't change the default track, so maybe we should just skip this. Or, never mind. I was about to hit the key and it's, oh, we're already off. Okay, whoa, okay, these are interesting controls. So, up to accelerate, yeah, and then you use the left and right to turn clockwise and counterclockwise. And we keep crashing into each other. That's not conducive to good racing. So I'm actually on the top screen, and the computer's on the bottom screen. Computer kind of wiped out there. So we're on the ice, going up the jumps. Oh, there's I'm hitting the... Maybe I should set up a landmine here. I'm not sure where, though. Let's set it right here. Or, did that do anything? Like, I mean, I pushed the fire button expecting it to drop a mine, but... Oh, no, wait, you know what? We have it in pure racing mode, not destruction mode. I just remembered. So that's not going to matter. Yeah, so the controls are very odd in that it seems to almost automatically turn you in some manner. Because you just have to push left or right once, and then it's like you keep turning. Yeah, I only just tapped the right button, and I turned that entire corner. You know, I'm not liking this default track because it seems too easy to wipe out from the way all the different jump ramps have been done. But, you know, we're making it through. We'd probably have better luck if we were in, like, slower vehicles, I think. So maybe we'll set that... Well, the next one... Oh, that's already it. Okay, then. Okay, so let's actually set the destruction rules in place so that we can actually use our landmines. And we're going to go to MotoX now for the graphics. It still says... I love how it keeps asking me to insert side 2 of the disc. I have not changed the side of the disc in forever now. So... Okay, so we've set our level and options, so let's modify our vehicles. We're just going to stay with the same track layout. Choose customize red vehicle. And the interesting thing here is that these vehicles are not very heavy. So I'm guessing if we add a landmine... Oh, we're not even allowed to add landmines. We can add oil. Can't add armor. And we can add a crusher. Okay, so I guess we're going to find out how these crushers work, because we're going to go with a crusher on these vehicles. And for the engine CC, let's actually go... let's go 250. You know, it just occurred to me that the jump test is probably important depending on what your vehicle selection is. Because it says computer vehicle testing jumps, right? So I suppose there is some awkwardness to that, because like, what if the jumps are perfectly fine for the computer, but you put yourself in a different vehicle that totally can't do them? Because that is interesting. This is basically a one-on-one racing game, but you can configure it to an extreme degree of customization. But at the same time, that kind of it doesn't have anything like a tournament or anything like that, and you've only got two opponents on the track at a time, like the person playing and the other person playing, or the person playing in the computer. So yeah, this actually feels almost more like stunts in that sense, like 4D sports driving, because that was a game where you either had time trials or you could race against a computer opponent, but it didn't have like an actual racing mechanic to it. Like, you weren't racing multiple vehicles, and it wasn't keeping track of tournaments or anything like that. So yeah, in many ways, this game is kind of more like stunts than your typical racing game. Very long test. I think I'm just going to skip it. So that way we can just go straight into it. And off we go. So, why is the computer vehicle only going like... What's going on? I know I set them to the proper CC. I'm not sure we can actually get out of this. Oh wait, there we go. F3 key actually brings that out of that. I have to try to figure out what just happened there, because that seemed weird. That seemed like the computer was not racing properly for whatever reason. I double-checked. Our vehicles are set up identically. So maybe aborting the test actually messed up how the computer responds on the track. Like, it's not impossible. What is up with the computer? The computer driver is just stuck down there. Okay, you know what? I think I understand why the computer test wasn't actually getting anywhere. Because these bikes are not capable of ascending these hills. Yeah, that's kind of a problem. Okay, so you'd think maybe the test to determine if the jumps or anything in a track was working properly would actually be able to determine as well if there was a soft lock consideration, that your vehicle options were just not good enough for the track to be possible. Like, stunts didn't have that. Well, actually, no, wait, stunts actually did have that problem. where you could configure tracks in such a way where certain vehicles would not be able to survive. But still, this was actually doing a conscious effort to check that, whereas Stunts only does a rudimentary effort to make sure that your track obeys particular rules in terms of how pieces can be positioned. Okay, so let's move on to the abstract graphics, and let's see what kind of vehicle selections we should do for this. You know what, let's actually go for the pickup truck for this particular run. And then we have street, spiked, and knobby tires. So street gives us 1792 151. Spiked is, again, just only good on ice. And knobby gives us really good dirt. And actually, knobby is just better than street in every way possible. So why would I not pick that? That is the only downside, is that this takes a while. So there's not really... You know what would be nice? I'm just thinking about this now. It would be nice if this test actually gave a percentage gauge. Oh wait, it actually completed. Because it could give a percentage gauge. The computer can easily check how... Whoa. Okay, this is going interesting. And the computer's already dropped his landmines. And yeah, this abstract kind of has like sort of a maze texture going on. I'd like to get ahead of the computer so I can drop a landmine down and maybe potentially damage the computer's truck. Okay, I'm trying to get ahead, but it's a little tricky. Okay, and drop the land... Did I get it? I'm not sure if I got the computer or not. In any event, I do have one more landmine, so let's see if we can find a good spot for it. The computer vehicle likes to go down the middle of the track, I've noticed. So if we can actually... Oh, I didn't mean to do that. So let's actually wait on the landmine, or no, right there. That's a perfect spot, because the computer's going to go down the middle section of that track with no interference from me. And then we'll be able to watch on the second player display there when the computer gets there? Is the computer stuck again? I made it over that just fine. What's the problem is the computer having? So watching the computer play here as I'm sat beyond the yeah, I'm really having trouble speaking today for some reason. As I'm sat beyond the finish line, watching the computer player just struggle with this hill, it seems to me that the only way to appropriately play this with the computer on a low setting is with a high-speed vehicle on a low skill setting. So, well, we only have one last thing to check out, which is the lunar landscape. And we're going to use the lunar rovers. But I guess what it's going to come down to is, are the lunar vehicles going to be powerful enough to actually, make some progress? So I'm going to check that first. And then I'm going to go to the options and turn the computer's difficulty up if it seems like we only have like low speed options with the lunar rover, which we're going to see in a second here. Okay, so the lunar rover options are actually terrible. You can't give it any equipment whatsoever. Its engine CC is 0, and the top speed is 40. So I think for this final race, if we're going to do it in lunar rovers, we're going to have to also adjust the gravity to compensate, and probably turn the computer skill up a notch. Okay, so I don't actually know which planet has less gravity, Venus or Uranus. I think I need to quickly look that up here. I think it's Uranus, but I'm not sure. It might be Venus. So let's take a quick check. Okay, so Venus has a gravity of 0.9 G, which is actually higher than I was expecting. So that makes me think Uranus is probably going to be less. But we're going to find out in a second here. It says here Uranus's surface gravity is 0.88. So it's like almost the same. Venus and Uranus have very similar gravity. So I guess we're picking Uranus, even though a part of me is worried that this is thinking that it's more gravity than Saturn, that just by the way it's been ordered, but I don't know. Anyways, let's set the computer vehicle to expert, because it's going to be low speed, possibly low gravity, in vehicles that can barely move. Hey, this is the way to end the video, right? On one of the worst racing potentials possible. Okay, well, let's start it. Let's see if it actually passes the jump test. I've been sitting here far too long. It is clearly not passing the jump test. Let's actually just play it. Let's see what happens. Okay, so the lunar look is actually kind of interesting here. There is no sound. And the computer vehicle, even I turned the difficulty up a notch and the computer's moving that slow. Like, what the heck? Well, let's see if we can survive a lap of this track. Like, there's clearly still sound effects. It's just, for some reason, the lunar vehicles are silent. And the computer vehicle is ever so slowly making it up that hill. And then failed. Really? So yeah, because I haven't really commented on it much, I'm going to mention it now again with the controls. The controls are definitely weird because you have to hold up to accelerate instead of using the button, which, you know, that kind of makes sense. You've only got one button to work with. But yeah, the controls are actually, oh. I'm stuck. Yeah, we can't complete this course with the lunar vehicles. But yeah, the thing I noticed, and the reason why the controls are so strange, is because you actually follow the course automatically. I know that doesn't seem too obvious. What's a good way I can demonstrate this? Give me a second here. Okay, so I've intentionally given myself an unfair advantage here because I want to demonstrate what's going on here. If I just hold straight, like hold up to accelerate, that's all I'm doing. Look at that. The car turns the corners on its own. So all I have to do, theoretically, to win this race is just hold up. Look at that. Just follows the course. Well, mostly follows the course. So yeah, that's the thing, is that it's not a perfect follow, but it does its best. So the only reason you have to hit the left and right keys is to try and compensate. Because hitting left and right does turn you, but it only turns you for, like, very slightly, and then you immediately sort of try to link back to the road where you should be. So the turning controls are more of like an adjustment as opposed to trying to actually turn the vehicle. So that's what I was getting confused with at first. And once I realized this was happening, it actually became a lot easier to control things. But yeah, that was Racing Destruction Set. Surprisingly customizable program that's kind of reminiscent of like a 2D stunts, but a little more limiting in terms of the kinds of courses you can create. Although the vehicle selection is certainly interesting. But as we can see from our friend the computer in his little lunar rover, there are definitely combinations which don't make sense. So there's a lot of experimentation which has to happen to get the most out of this program. But if you do have things set up right, then sure, it works perfectly fine.